Alright, in the comments video, there have been some stupid comments, so it's probably worth doing a video. Apropos of snow comments after. I'll do the Gray Text video first, and then my video. So this is Gray Text comments on his video. And so he, Gray Text did this stupid middle class thing, like this philosophy grows out of some sort of middle class angst or time on our hands or some kind of bullshit like that. This implication that somehow the poor have it right, the morons, the religious kooks, the nuts, the simpletons, somehow know what they're doing. Let's just fart a few kids out and let them live on a garbage dump. That philosophy is so much smarter. It's just such a pile of shit. And how exactly are the middle class, how did they escape reality? Does that mean my sister didn't really die because I was middle class? That means what? I don't understand what life is because I've never had to eke out an existence. I've never lived in, say, a house with no heat for 4 years. Oh yeah, that's right, I did that. I do it right now, right over there. 20 feet away. There's a room that's 45 degrees. I mean, don't talk to me about this pretentious, moronic nonsense that somehow philosophies have something to do with your class. No, they have something to do with your understanding of the world, shithead. Alright, I believe what I believe because I went to school as a kid and I took biology classes and I actually paid attention to the subject matter when it came to geology and mineralogy and all these subjects that sort of intrigued me because they had something to do with what exactly life is made out of, and I found that question kind of wanting from the world because all they talked about was bunny rabbits and Santa Claus and other cartoon characters that don't exist and little fairy tales of Cinderella and Snow White and Sleeping Beauty and absolute fucking drivel. Yeah, and so I went and I looked for a real answer, and the real answer, I found it, and it wasn't a very good answer, and that's just the way it is. It had nothing to do with my class. It just has to do with the fact that I took life a little more seriously than fat, tubby waste of time like you. Alright, anyway, through the comments. So anyway, somebody cracks on him as being just a middle-class sycophant to the status quo, which he is. He's just blowing the status quo engine. I feel confident I helped more people in one day than you have helped in your entire life. Well, you can feel confident, but I don't think you could justify that with anything. What have you done? That was never just for you. You spend lots of times drinking, I noticed that, and eating, and bicycling, but what have you done for anybody? Oh, that's right. You've done nothing. You complain at your neighbors because they stole your bike. Well, you accuse them without a trial. That's right. Yeah, fuck you. Not too radical a claim considering what you just claimed me in your ridiculous comment. Well, I'm just saying, you're the one who made the first accusation, asshole. So, again, this is just such a pile of shit. You're just such a duplicitous creep. You make ad hominem attacks. You're not arguing the philosophy. You're arguing the holders of the philosophy, calling them names, and then you expect to, what, get off free? Fatty? No, you're not going to get off free. Let's get our E-peers out to see who is the winner and who is the loser, or just fuck off. You're the loser, and you know it, and that's why you're resorting to this kind of argumentation, because you don't have a real argument. If you had some kind of real argument, then you'd make it. You'd explain what it is that you think the other ingredient is. If it isn't consumption, reproduction, cannibalism, addiction, what else is it? What's your for? You say it's so complex, well, you think you could come up with some kind of word that mattered? No, that's right, you can't find a word except for Snow White and Cinderella. Those are the only words you're going to find, are bullshit words. I don't even know if it's worth trying to read this good day crap, but anyway, warbles. Well now, there's more than in you and simple-minded middle-class bullshit to anti-ephilism. There's hubris as well. And as prerequisites to an A.N. fodder, one must first be an atheist. Oh, gee, duh. With anybody with a God theory sees suffering as part of all the plan. Okay, well, whatever. I'm not, a God theory based on no evidence. Very good. Fantastic. Bravo. Let's glorify that, everybody. Gobata guy who never says much of anything. Number one, first world problems. So this is another one of these assholes who glorifies the ignorant poor. I mean, just he thinks, yeah, oh yeah, it's just so fucking brilliant to be a poor slob in a third world. Why are third world countries like third world countries? Oh, that's right, because people are stupid motherfuckers. And they take no responsibility for even trying to be civilized. They sit there and give birth to 10 kids to watch 8 of them die. And they do it on top of a big giant mound of garbage and call that their town. And you're going to glorify that. You should have to live in it. You, middle-class motherfucking cunt prick, living in a first-world country, you should have to go live in their yard. Go live with the poor you glorify. Go live in their ignorance and their squalor. Go eat their shit that runs right across their front door. Go live there and then tell me about how they got it right. No, they've got it profoundly wrong. They're dumb, they're ignorant, they're stupid religious cunts. All right, and if you gave them the truth on a silver platter, they'd still say, I don't want it, okay? Because they're too fucking stupid. Right. Bob Chaos couldn't say it better. Yeah, well, obviously an idiot can't say what an idiot says any better because they're both idiots. So yeah, a retard isn't going to improve on an idiot's moronic statement. So yeah, no surprise you failed, Bob. Yeah, you sound like a child. You're responding to somebody else. Yeah, well, you sound like a completely delusional, phantasmagorical little aura guy. You're doing your little 60s thing there. Yeah, guess what? The 60s are over, shithead. All right? Your bell-bottoms and your yellow submarine aren't going anywhere. Even your Carl Sagan-esque little blue marble crap. Yeah, it's about as deep and as real as Cinderella. It's just another little 3-pig story. It ain't reality. So Mr. Black here, nothing. Mr. Nothing. Great video, man. Oh, so says the Nothing. Yeah, brilliant. Ah, Ludite. I found Biol's contention highly ironic. I've never known any sufferer, one who's gone through some real shit, that would demand the eradication of all... It's not eradication of all life in the sense of the way you're putting it in those words, right? So again, you just have to keep playing rhetoric games. Would you like to say something like who's gone through real shit, who would expect responsibility from procreators, especially if the real shit they went through is because somebody irresponsibly had a baby with like claw arms and they knew it was going to have claw arms, or some other genetic disorder that they knew was going to happen and they did it anyway? So those people's testimony would mean nothing. So but what's the point? There's no point in adding up the testimony, is there? Because for every testifier you can get to do one thing, I could find a testifier that'll testify to the other. The argument has to be made rationally. I'm saying you don't have a rational argument. Your rational argument is based on this idea that prevention doesn't exist because, yeah, if you prevent something, it didn't happen, and therefore you can't claim any victory because it didn't happen. I mean, that's your kind of bizarre, inane, circular, nonsensical logic that you're using as evidence of something. And your statement, too, that nothing matters. So how the fuck could you even know what the word suffering means? You don't think suffering has any real meaning. You think you can just make it up in your head, and that's the only meaning it has, is your projection of value. It doesn't have any value in and of itself. It's only because you think it has value. So if the witness doesn't show up, nothing ever means anything. Fuck you, you're an idiot. Great text. Just heard him talk about a squirrel that if it had super intelligence like AN, it would decide, obviously, it didn't want to live and scurry for nuts for existence. Yeah, we was talking about a squirrel in the winter, okay, in the cold, eking out. I guess Great Text thinks animals just live really well and then they just die automatically. They just keel over. They just fall over from heart attacks or something. They don't die of exposure, of slow attrition. That's not how most of them are annihilated. No, that's not the truth. That's some sort of fable that the ANs are telling everybody. That's the reality, Great Text. Their tails freeze off, shit happens, their life is rather miserable, and you just want to glorify it. Fine, because you're an idiot. That's right, you're a retard. And you think they're all made out of plastic anyway because their suffering doesn't exist because it's all subjective. Fine, you're an idiot. Alright, this Dadawanamai, he says some good stuff about animals, but he doesn't give a shit about the subject, so fuck him, I'm not even going to bother with him. Mike Bull, in his recent video, hypothesis that ANs can see the truth of reality because we live sheltered lives free from suffering. Well, part of that I'm going to argue is true. Okay, you wouldn't defend life if it really bit you in the ass, in the sense that you had to watch something you really care about slowly and horribly die. Maybe you need to do that more than once. I don't know how many times you need to see that happen before you say no mas. But I only needed it once, to tell you the truth, and I ended up with a lot more than once. And yeah, there's nothing on earth that's worth that shit. I'm sorry, none of you people are doing any dance that's good enough to justify that horror. So you want to pretend it's all okay? Go ahead and pretend, but that's all you're doing. And I'm saying I'm not going to let you pretend with me anymore. I'm protesting. I'm saying fuck you. I never want to see your ugly fucking asses ever again. And I'm talking about your faces. Yeah, I don't want to smell you. I don't want to hear you. I don't want to notice you. I never want to wake up on this shithole of a planet with you loony fucking goddamn psychotic lunatics ever again. I don't want to be your victim. I don't want to be your friend. I don't want to be your lover. I don't want to be anything near any of you scum fuckers. You're shit eaters and scum fuckers. You have no fucking sense of decency or integrity. You have no sensibilities whatsoever. It's like you have no sense of smell. You will literally eat shit. So the Mets can win the World Series. So you can celebrate when the Mets win the World Series. You're fucking insane. That's the only word for it. The fucking sane people are in the loony bins. It is a madhouse. It is Planet of the fucking Apes. It's a realistic, sensible metaphor. When you're born on this planet, you're born on Planet of the Apes. And you're going to be a human and realize it, or you're going to just be an ape. But that's what it is. It's Planet of the fucking Apes. It's a madhouse. It's upside fucking goddamn down. The crazy fucks are running the show. The dumbest fucks are running the show. And you're just another perfect example. Your little tulip drawing, or whatever the fuck it is. Silly fuck. I just watched one of his videos for the first time, and it has all the errors and mistakes, societal presupposed concepts I've already pointed out in other videos. You point out nothing, you prove nothing, you demonstrate nothing except that you're a fucking ad hominem attack and troll motherfucker on the internet. You're just a fucking goddamn trolling loser, period. Nothing else needs to be said. And speaking of losers and trolls and ad hominem attackers, it's very simple, really. The problems begin the second one starts putting value on things. So there you go. That's what you people, that's the world you live in. Value doesn't exist. There's no such thing as 6 years of torture and suffering and pain that somebody can endure dying of some stupid disease. Yeah, it just doesn't happen. It's all a figment of everybody's imagination. Pay no attention. The moaning, screaming horror. No, pay no attention. Move along. Move along. Yeah, fuck you. Civilization requires a putting of value on things. I think it's a matter of putting value on feelings, but that's not the whole story either, in my opinion. Yeah, Dana Cat loves me, retard. But he's conceding there is value, I think. More like believing that those attributes are inherent rather than being a tribute to the thing from our own subjective position. A tribute. So we would have tribute to things for erroneous and artificial reasons. Just contrive something and make a little statue to it, and therefore it means something. It doesn't mean something in and of itself. Only means something when you build a proper statue. I mean, this is like a Monty Python episode or something. You people really are too fucking stupid. You don't know what the thing is that has value. You think the value is in your fucking opinion. I mean, it's just amazing. Fucking amazing. Blue Knight. Oh, suffering sucks, therefore wipe out the biosphere. See how easy it's like A equals A. Derp. No, well, I think you said suffering sucks, so that would be A. The biosphere is the C, and the B is you can't do shit about it, fucktard. Yeah, that's right. It sucks. You can't fix it. Not efficiently. So yeah, game over. Inefficient machine consumes something of more value than it produces, which is nothing, actually. The satisfaction of your deprivation somehow is going to justify all the suffering. All the animals right now, this very second, squeaking their last little squeak. All of that suffering is worth it to you because you get to write a stupid asshole comment on YouTube. And because the great and powerful Luddite gets to do something, it's worth all the pain and suffering it costs. Fuck you, you suck. You just fucking suck. You're such a fucking greedy rapist. Yeah, you're just a taker. Take. No end to your gluttony. Machine Ghost Guy. I'm working class beta male gray text, but this is just an ad hom. Like your alpha male gray text example, nope. And also never explain how life went beyond the four effortless mantras. That's it. Never explain that. That's right. Never adds the ingredients because he can't dare say the words because he's going to say something like God or magic or love. He's going to say some silly, subjective, entirely subjective, crap. And that's it. He's just an addict. Plain and simple. He's perfectly covered within the definition of those four things. He's just a cannibalizing addict, and he just won't fess up and say, yeah, that's right. My need to live is certainly just a projection in my brain. It has no real correlate in the real world. I don't need the Martians to exist. I don't need the Venetians to exist. Obviously, I'm just a fucking human-centric human bigot. That's all you are, Grey Tex. You're a big, giant, monstrous bigot. Period. Alright, just an ad hom. Oh, the ironies coming from the king of ad hom irony bullshit. Okay, I mean, this guy just, all he does is shit talk. Never puts words together or sentence together, has a goddamn thing to do with reality. Just talks psychology like it's philosophy, and all he does is talk trash talk. And yet he complains about other people's attitudes and demeanors. Hilarious. That's all it is. Just fucking hilarious. Hypocrisy. Human is thy name. Machine Ghost. I have a blind spot to irony. Please explain. Yeah, that would be interesting. He did remember the mantras stem from Inmendham's flawed psychology. So again, they're just simple explanations of evolution. Now you explain how they're incorrect. Consumption, reproduction for the sake of reproduction, DNA molecule initiate the whole thing. Natural selection, which is a cannibalistic game, okay, like kinds eating like kinds, and through this mechanism of psychological attachment, which drives things to chase, to play the game, to be competitive. You don't think competition is a manifestation of psychology, idiot. You don't think your ego is just a manifestation of psychology. You think there's a real correlate in reality that says you are better, or says that there's some reason why you should knock 10 other people down so you can get to the top of a hill. Yeah, I'm afraid not. You're an idiot. That's it. Now believe it. Inmendham makes almost identical arguments towards Grey Tex. Only difference is, no, I don't make anywhere close to identical arguments. I tell Grey Tex he's a fat, ignorant pig. Okay, now, 2 of those words you can take out. Fat pig. But the ignorant thing, damn, rock solid. The only difference is he illustrates this time and time again with reliable reasoning through coherent arguments. Well, again, what's his coherent argument to the facts of those 4 statements about what life is? Oh, that's right, there is no argument. The universe is complex. No, it isn't. So there, counter-argument made. Make the listener understand that those unequally distributed pleasures might not be intrinsic. Well, whatever that even means. Like I said, again, if you don't think suffering's intrinsically, fundamentally, in and of itself a bad thing, and that feeling good is intrinsically and fundamentally a good thing because it takes you out of being in a negative state, well, then you're too stupid for conversation. Sorry, too stupid. Almost as if he's solely trying to convince you and not to boost his ego, almost as if he has respect for the listener. Well, whatever that means, blah, blah, blah. Obviously don't have any respect for listeners like you, so that's for sure. As I just said to MG, what action of sitting, typing your comments into YouTube fall under? Cannibalism, consumption, reproduction, addiction? Well, probably addiction. Obviously. Part of it connects to the cannibalism thing, just in the sense that that's the hierarchy game being played, and you play it all the time, even though you whine and complain about it. You engage in it, shithead. So did I say I was an alpha male? So I argue one thing, therefore I must argue the other. I don't know how many times I have said that binary thinking fails. Well, whatever that means. Again, that's just some sort of broad brush bullshit statement that doesn't... What? Binary? You mean connected to reality thinking? Oh, you mean dissecting the mechanism and figuring out how it works? Oh, no. Sorry, not this one fail. That's exactly the road to success. I don't know how many times I have to point out my objections to VR. Whatever. Objections based on what? That it could completely duplicate the existence you're existing in right now. And no, that doesn't matter. Your objections are what? Bigotry, fear, childishness, ignorance. There's no rational objection to virtual reality unless you're religious, unless you think you're not allowed to play with God's creation. Yeah, that can only be the only reason. And as I've said, you are religious. You're just a religious nut who's pretending to be an atheist. Or how many times I have to point out the self-evident position that not everything is cannibalism, et al. Well, again, you can't do that. How many times you have to point out the self-evident position? No, show me any evidence. There's no evidence that it's not. Every single relationship is cannibalistic in terms of what the individual is taking. The fact that sometimes it just incidentally happens, the person you're shitting on happens to like to eat shit, is circumstantial. It isn't, but it's no evidence of any kind of realistic alternative to the truth that we're built to be taking machines. And even when we don't take, when we love very bigotedly, very prejudicedly. So there's a taking in the sense that it's a mechanism built into us, and that's where the nepotism comes from, the thing you're caught up with. I bet if you could have a kid, if you could actually find a woman that wanted to have kids with you, you wouldn't adopt, because no, that's not good enough. You're a nepotist, no doubt about it. You're a genetic bigot. Your action is sitting there typing in the comments, which it was consumption, cannibalism, some other of your four simplistic mantras, well, whatever. I shouldn't even bother with that crap. So whatever, this crap dealer guy. I could not agree more with you. This is just the way I feel about watching these fuckers. I am done, and if they cannot see why it's bullshit and wrong, well, I don't know what to say to them anymore. Well, you ought to try an argument. I'm sure you've never made an argument. I mean, I make video after video. Try to cut it down to 5 minutes, and then it's 15 minutes, and sometimes it's 40 minutes, but whatever. Explaining the simplicity of it. I mean, it's evolution, shithead. You don't believe in evolution. Fine, you're a retard. There's nothing else to say. I mean, what, you think it's a divine function because it's been around for 4 billion years? Natural selection, therefore, is brilliant? No, it's fucking idiotic. It's a gladiator war. Explain how it's not. Explain it. Explain how every feature of our everything we have because it was a tool in a war. We're made of war weapons. That's what all this shit is weaponry to fight war. And you're glorifying it. You're an idiot. You're an asshole. No fucktard. So anyway, on to apropos of the wet snow. More of his wishy-washy, mishy-mushy bullshit. Inmendham, a big fish in an intellectually shallow pond. Well, I don't know. You're going to say that you've just defined yourself as intellectually shallow then, because you're part of the pond there, fucktard. And Professor Anton and Matt and the Mystic and Conference. You've just told them all they're intellectually shallow. Now, I would like if we could get Dawkins here, get some of these other people here, because I'd like to cut all them a new asshole too. But this is sort of a bullshit accusation. So who are your intellectual giants? All right, let's go find some of your intellectual giants and just see how durable their intelligence is, how it holds up to scrutiny. Who gets eaten every time he ventures out of the ocean? Well, again, name something. Name somebody besides what you might call dullards in the real world. Who have power. I can't do anything about the fact that judges have power, and yeah, they can put me on watch lists, and they can do all kinds of shit. Okay, yeah, but I don't consider myself defeated because a judge doesn't like me. If that's your way of defining victory or failure, I think it's kind of superficial and shallow. So he derides the ocean. Well, again, I'm not deriding the ocean. And so that's just a false accusation. So whatever. Doesn't, you know, why don't you talk in something besides idiotic metaphor? I mean, why don't you say something really explicit for a change? I can just tell by the sheer volume of content you produce that you do very little reading. Well, whatever. I'm a lot older than you, shithead. So I would imagine I've had a lot more time in my life to do this reading thing. And, I mean, what stuff do you want me to read? I mean, every book I've read is just a flawed hunk of shit. I mean, it's Schopenhauer, you know, I got 3 volumes of it. And, yeah, it's about 50-50. And even the 50 part that's good is drawn out, inarticulate slop, in my opinion. I mean, round and round and round and round in circles, and that's all he does, round and round and round. I mean, that stupid Tranquil guy pointed somebody to one of Schopenhauer's volumes on how to live a good life. And it just goes on and on and on about all this bullshit about, well, a poor man has to work a lot, and so he doesn't have time to think, and he can't think much, but so he feels good about not working, but he feels good about, not thinking, but then he gets bored, and he gets blah, 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 and he just goes on and on, and he's basically just talking from an elitist position, like everybody should just have no job, and they should all just sit around thinking about, well, I should just think about high things, and pleasant things, because if I'm too smart, I'm going to think about negative things, and that's going to be a huge liability, but I'll be smart enough to undo this huge, it's just a bunch of convoluted crap. Just crap. So I should read more of that crap, and then maybe I should listen to him on women. Yeah, he's really insightful on women. I can just tell, it's pitiful to see someone rely so heavily on YouTube. I'm not relying on YouTube. I'm yelling and arguing with YouTube, you stupid moron. So fuck you and that crap. And I found some of my old paperwork from like 15 years ago. Okay, so I'm going to read some of that in a video maybe. And, so it's the same arguments being made 15 years ago without fucking YouTube. So go to hell, you fucking goddamn slandering asshole. Maybe as a lawyer, you ought to look up the word slander, shithead, and you ought to try to make arguments that have something to do with reality, instead of making statements you can't back up with a fucking fact, retard. Let's see. The narcissist quick fix. Well, whatever. What is exactly your strategy? Oh, yeah, publish a book that, 20,000 people might fucking someday read? Maybe, if you're really, really lucky. Not that I'm against it, but, no one's offering me a contract either. But whatever. Again, this is the only way. You think there's something broken in this mechanism. People communicating ideas in their own voice, in their own time, that somehow this is, the poor man's version or something? This isn't the good enough version? This isn't Benjamin Franklin wouldn't use it if he was around today? Yeah, I think he fucking would. Fuck you. It's pitiful to see blah, 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 their intellectual development. Well, like I said, I didn't get developed on YouTube. And my intellectual development, to tell you the goddamn truth, I had more right about life when I was fucking 10 years old than you're probably going to have by the time you reach 30. It just turns out that way, that I'm more logically ordered than you are. You're a girly man in your brain. You have a bunch of phantasmagorical, silly notions of purpose and function that have absolutely nothing to do with reality. You're screaming out into empty space with very little around you to muffle your voice. Why would I want my voice muffled if I was screaming out? Yeah, I wouldn't want it muffled. What a lonely feeling it must be. Well, whatever. You sound like the sad sack. You sound like the little whiner who has to come on a comment section and type this kind of crap. So what kind of loser are you? This is the extent of your contribution. I type little snarky comments on YouTube. At least I'm not wasting my time in the comment section on videos. Retard. Alright, more fun. Your entire YouTube career is like a chapter out of Nietzsche. Well, that's just so fucking idiotic. What chapter would that be? Why don't you give me that quote of the paragraph of Nietzsche that my career on YouTube has something to do with his writing? It's because there's absolutely nothing in what he says that has a goddamn thing to do with me. You're like Enron. No, I don't think I am. I think it's about as extreme polar opposites as you could fucking goddamn get. So just make an entirely preposterous accusation. I mean, it's just so preposterous, so disconnected from anything that could possibly be rationally defended. So again, it's just another slander. You fucking pedophile. Ugh. Extremely marketable, but ultimately not taken seriously by people with degrees. Well, that's pretty silly. I mean, Ayn Rand had a little club and full of people with PhDs, so that's just kind of a silly thing to say. Lots of people with PhD takes silly craps seriously. There's lots of them that are fools. Lots of PhDs are fools. Like you might be someday. It's a confrontational, misguided approach to learning. Well, whatever. Again, you're the one learning, okay? I am the fucking teacher, fucker. Alright, I was done learning when I was about 13. Yeah, I needed to get a few more details down, but yeah, the game was already up. I already knew the score. And, so, yeah, teacher. Yeah. I'm not learning. There's nothing I can learn from an asshole. Poo eaters? Poo eaters have nothing to teach anybody. Alright, you people are still talking in nursery rhymes and fairy tales. What are you going to teach me? Oh, that's right, not a goddamn thing. It's like you got stuck in some, whatever it is, tangential, silly debate as a child and never let your guard down long enough to embrace some changes in your fundamental way of brain operates. Yeah, well, mine's logical, that's right. I didn't let my brain become an illogical sack of shit like you fucking idiots. Okay, I didn't get all, oh, look at the moon, it's round and glowy. And yeah, I didn't waste my time with that shit. That's right. I saw the moon, I said, oh yeah, that's the thing that seduces all those poor insects into the atmosphere so they can reproduce and die. Yeah, so they can make the mistake of getting fooled. I found your first box of, you found your first box of Lego. No, I thought Lego actually sucked. I hate Lego. Okay, Tinker Toys, yeah. Okay, they kicked ass because you could make things that actually did shit. But Legos were the lamest pile of shit ever invented. I never understood what the fuck a Lego was. It's just stupid. Oh, block. Connect block. Fuck that. Stupid. I decided to understand life entirely with big, bright blocks. Well, again, Tinker Toys weren't big, bright. They were wooden blocks. I actually liked Lincoln Logs, to tell you the truth. But, I mean, they were a little boring. Cabin. We could just make cabins, really. People like Matt are part of a community of thinkers who have developed, oh, please, they developed brain cancer. What have they developed? Silly reinventions of God. And you embrace that much. Reinvent God. Turn him into some sort of Gaia tree monster that's looking over us all or something. I don't know. And are experimenting with newfound forms of language. No, he's experimenting with fucking drugs. Silly Simon, okay? He's seeing how silly, how much silly he can poison his brain with, how crooked he can make his vision so he can look at life and make it make sense. That's all he's doing. He's warping his mind into, whatever. Something twisted, yeah, like a twisted piece of licorice. There's no point in having a brain made out of licorice. The jargon tries to bring the bits and pieces together into wholes. Wholes of what? What? Bits and pieces. He's not working with anything. He's not working with any bits and pieces that have anything to do with rationality. He's working with bits and pieces that aren't real. You know? Fables, narratives, whatever that storytelling word is. But yeah, that's what he's working with. He's taking little bits and pieces out of the fables of the, of the misunderstandings of the ignorant past and trying to resurrect them, trying to reform them into a Franken-God. If you want to be able to genuinely critique these styles of thinking, you at least have to get on board and read the literature and speak the language. No, I don't have to do any of that such thing. All I have to do is talk about my truth, the truth that's the real world truth. They have no evidence of any of this mush they talk. It's what I'm going to. Why should I bother attempting to speak their language, infinitude and beyond? No, I'm not going to bother with that. That's childish drivel. Or you can do as you've been doing and speak to the camera in the same Hollywoodized, made-for-TV Americanisms that get you so much attention. Well, frankly, that's hardly what I do, but, it's hardly Hollywoodized, but whatever that accusation is doesn't mean anything. So anyway, so this guy, new forms of language try to resuscitate German idealism and incorporate it into some type of process. Reincarnation view is not only impotent, there are only so much droning on about Hegel and Schelling that one can take before one starts to call bullshit. Yeah, well, exactly. Whatever. I mean, all this obtuse philosophy and it only exists because it is so crooked that you can't apply any rational measurers to it. You can't apply any instruments to it. So you just make something so non-connected to reality that you can't put it in the context of reality and argue it, because it can only be argued as a Three Pigs story. So go read every volume of the Three Pigs you can find. Go read it in every language you can find. And I will remain, as a 10-year-old, more enlightened and capable of understanding than you will. You will gain nothing from immersing yourself in drivel about amorphous purposes floating in space. It's going to fail. It's a replicating molecule. Newsflash, apropos. Take some biology classes. It's a replicating molecule. It's natural selection, which is pretty much carnage. Yeah. There's nothing else going on here. And your pretense and protest that there is just a lie. You have no evidence for anything else going on here. None. There's no UFOs. There's no gods. There's not even a semi-god. There's nothing. There's a replicating molecule, and a scheming mind was bestowed on us. And programs in you can understand that and utilize your psychology to be better than your physiology. You get it? You can be better than your nature by understanding your nature. Get it? No, you'll never get it. Well, I think you do get it. You're like the rest of them. You're just running from the truth because the truth doesn't provide you any of the necessary fun that you demand. That's all. You're just too much of a glutton to accept the stark reality that the only good job here on earth is janitor. The only good job is cleaning up the mess being made by the assholes. That's all there is. Clean up the mess the assholes keep making. That's it. It's the only job in town. Yeah. And you just don't like it. It's not suitable to your position. And that's the irony of Great Texas Video. It's the real elitists, the upper class elitists are these guys. They're the ones talking down at the world. Anyway. It's enough. Fuck you in touch.